Welcome back, guests. I have a very special guest with me on the couch today. She's special for many reasons, but top three reasons. She's a woman who is leading from the front, a woman leader who is helping telecom industries transform. The lady who puts up the beautiful ITW event year on year. The lady who is the central force for GLF, and also someone who has seen this industry transform. So thank you so much, Annabel, for coming on the show and taking time from your very busy schedule to chat with us.
Well, I'm delighted to be here, Raghav. Thanks for the invitation. And with an introduction like that, how could I resist?
Thank you. So I know that ITW, when we say, it's a gold standard when it comes to telecom industry, when it comes to the communication industry. People say that this is the holy grail for their event and go-to place. And someone who is managing this hectic of a show, how is it? I mean, how stressful, how much of pressure it puts on you year on year when you kind of raise the bar every single year?
So it's a really good question. Firstly, I would say I have an amazing team, and there is an amazing team that make all of this happen. This is
beautiful.
By far and away not a one-woman show. They've worked very hard. I mean, they're already working for next year's event, right?
Beautiful.
I think for us, what's always really important is to ensure that kind of that customer centricity is baked into everything we do.
Sure.
We're so lucky that the industry trusted us
Sure.
to run their annual event. I mean, this is the biggest gathering for international connectivity providers globally.
Sure.
And we have it on trust from the industry. So we're really very careful to make sure that we're delivering that value back.
Right.
Because as soon as we don't, we've been part of this industry for so long. We love it. We protect it.
Sure.
And when you thrive, we thrive, right? And then that's really what we're aiming to achieve.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, personally for us, Zeebu as an organization, ITW will remain the most special event for us, because last year we launched our company in this event. We were like 0 customers, probably like $100,000 in revenue. Today we are talking about 2 billion in transactions, 400 plus active customers. This has been a fabulous event for us, and I'm sure you have seen many companies grow multifold in your events. What is so special about this? What do you think makes or helps organizations grow like this?
Do you know what? It is the people, right? And I think the great thing about ITW is that, I mean, you can see around the show floor, deals are getting done, agreements are getting signed every minute.
Sure.
But beyond that, we also have the senior executive leadership committee here that are agreeing new strategic partnership agreements, new consortium models. This is where new cables get designed and deployed and announced, and it's kind of exciting that you've got that mix of people who are hitting their quarterly annual revenue targets, but at the same time you've got the leadership who are thinking through actually what does the industry need to do today to invest in our future 5 years, 10 years down the line, right?
Beautiful. And I mean, if you had to put it in one sentence, what is the mission of GLF? I mean, what are you guys, like, what is that one North Star that you think is a great thing that you're doing for the industry?
So our mission statement within the GLF, so we're an industry body that represents international connectivity providers. The board is 33 CEOs from international telecoms businesses. And our mission statement is all focused around ubiquitous, interoperable connectivity that's value creative. So all of our programs and working groups are geared around those 3 pillars, right? Ubiquity, interoperability, and value creation.
Beautiful.
And that allows that kind of sense of focus into everything that we do.
Sure.
Beyond that, and you probably will have seen it at the start of the pandemic, we launched the Keeping the World Connected campaign.
Correct.
And that's been really helpful actually redefining an industry purpose.
Beautiful.
Because people don't necessarily understand, or at least, I talk to family and friends at home, they think the cloud lives somewhere actually in the cloud, right? And it doesn't. It's fiber, it's towers, it's cables, it's data centers, it's all of the infrastructure that's in the ground. And we stepped up as an industry during the pandemic and kept the world connected. We enabled businesses, people, families. I mean,
beautiful.
that's why, and you'll see it actually all around the show, and we've adopted it as the Takorico hashtag, keeping the world connected, is really what we
Sure.
do as a business, because we
Yeah.
connect leaders and we people, but actually beyond that, it reflects what all
Yeah.
of our clients do here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're connecting people
Absolutely.
and things, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I'm a huge advocate of women leading businesses.
Uh-huh.
It's been my personal experience. I'm a great fan of Indra Nooyi, Marisa Mayer. You know, you name Sheryl Sandberg, you name the leader, they have been the change makers. They have been
Right.
driving the industry. As a managing director of such a large organization, do you think you have an extra responsibility being the woman leader in driving this?
Do you know, it's a really difficult question to answer because, yes, obviously
Yeah.
I do. And
Yes.
every woman does. I
Right.
think where our call is actually is to everyone, you know, it's not a female only issue.
Yes.
We look to our male allies and male sponsors and our male mentors
Sure.
to also play a part in that puzzle because, you know, today, for example, we've launched our 5th annual Diversity, Inclusion and Belonging report.
Beautiful.
And it's highlighted that whilst a lot of progress has been made across the industry, the
Sure.
higher up the management chain you get,
Sure.
only 20% of companies at this level are diverse at a management or a board or executive level.
That's true.
And that's a problem,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you know, and beyond that, actually, and beyond looking at gender, we started tracking neurodiversity for the first time, and that's a concern. You know, as an industry, we need to be more inclusive of everyone,
Sure.
regardless of how they present themselves, because we have a talent problem.
Sure.
And if we exclude
Yeah.
people for whatever reason, we're
Yeah.
never going to advance, and we're never going to attract the right people into our industry.
Sure.
And you know, and the other kind of concerning stat that we saw actually is that over the 5 years that we've been tracking against the different diversity matrix, so age, gender, race, sexuality, gender has kind of maintained a fairly consistent focus.
Okay.
All of the others have dipped, you know, steadily. They're in decline. And actually that's more of a concern, especially when you think in telecoms,
Yeah.
we have quite an aging population.
True.
The retirement cliff is coming.
True.
Why aren't we doing more to extend people in the workplace?
True.
You know, there are so many things that are quite simple to implement
Sure.
that if we did and worked together to do so, you know, we're going to be better.
Sure.
What is cool though, you know, a really cool finding is that people are finding having diverse teams is improving their sales performance, right?
Sure.
Because as the world is changing, you want your people to be able to identify and interact and have interesting conversations with people
Absolutely.
that they can also identify and interact with. So
Correct.
it is a real business imperative for us
Right.
to be more inclusive because, you know, your numbers are going to get bigger. I mean,
Right, yeah.
that's kind of, you know, that's what we all want, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, you have seen this industry up close. I'm sure you have seen telecom evolve from, you know, the nascent 2G, 3Gs to where we are today. You know, seamless communication across the globe, where people can just pick up phone, do WhatsApp. You know, I can feel that I am with my loved ones across the continent.
Yep.
Where do you think this is heading to? I mean, where do you think is the future taking us?
Oh, that's a good question. So within the GLF, we produce a paper called Tomorrow's Telco.
Sure.
And where the real mission statement or North Star around that is seamless endpoint to endpoint connectivity that is
Sure.
network agnostic.
Sure.
Because, you know, when we're looking at kind of implementing automation or, you know, soon AI across the network, all of these different types of things,
Sure.
it means that if we're going to see a mind shift actually in the way that our networks interact with each other. So
Right.
at a network level,
Right.
we're at a real inflection point. We're also at a time when
Beautiful.
the most amount of capacity from a fiber and a subsea perspective is being brought online around the world that
Right.
we've ever seen before.
Right.
The risk there
Yeah.
is more cable cuts are happening. There's challenges from a geopolitical perspective.
Yeah.
And as an industry, that goes against what we do, which is keeping the world connected. So
Yeah.
how do we continue
Yeah.
to connect people, as
Yeah.
you say, so you can talk to your loved ones
Yeah.
whilst having the resiliency and the redundancy in our networks
Sure.
to ensure that we're protected.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does that make
Absolutely.
sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, very valid point and answer. But I was talking to another host on the show, and he was telling that Denmark is very soon going to reach 100% of country being online, which means end-to-end connectivity. He was also telling the challenges that it brings, probably the digital fraud, the cyber fraud, people getting too influenced by social media and all of that.
Yeah.
Do you think GLF as a body will also be doing something to bring more awareness in terms of cyber security, or in terms of safe use of internet and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, look, we represent more at kind of the network layer, right?
Right.
So yes, we do have a network security working group,
Beautiful.
which is very closed door, and really what the purpose is of that. So we have the network security leads from all of the different networks around the world
Sure.
that alert each other when new attack vectors are coming up, or a different type of carpet bombing that they hadn't seen before is kind of coming down the chain.
Right.
And that way we're kind of collaborating to try and solve issues and
Sure.
serve our customers
Sure.
before things kind of come to a head. So
Beautiful.
yes, there are other really cool organizations out there. So if you look at like the GSMA that have done a lot on the Child Safety Protection Act or whatever,
Correct.
they're much more on the retail mobile side, whereas we're more focused on that B2B or, enterprise layer.
True. So I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of bodies in that, and this whole thing is evolving, right? I mean, as technology evolves, the challenges evolve, and
Right.
we're all working towards, making it more safe. This brings me to the next segment, which is more of, I ask my guests about their, personal questions around, their hobbies and things like that. So
Okay.
let's get to that segment.
All right, okay.
So if I would say there are 3 things that Annabel loves to do during her free time, what are they?
Oh dear, what are they? So I'm a massive bookworm.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm always reading.
Wow.
And I specifically love reading in the bath with a glass of wine. That is genuinely my favorite thing to do.
Beautiful. Which
Otherwise,
was your last favorite book that you read?
Ooh, I've just finished the Silo trilogy. I really enjoyed that.
Beautiful.
I like kind of where that philosophical application of kind of sci-fi, I suppose, to the human condition. I find that really
Beautiful.
fascinating.
Yeah. Nice. What's the second thing?
The second thing, okay, dancing. I love to dance.
Beautiful.
I love dancing. Going dancing with friends or by myself, listening to music. That's
Very
always
nice.
a really good thing to do.
Nice.
And the last thing is probably I'm a nature freak, so hiking.
Wow.
I do, yeah.
Wow.
And I'm a country bumpkin. So.
Which was your most favorite hiking in the recent past?
Ooh, so I'm really lucky. Where I live is in the middle of a village in Sussex.
Oh, nice.
And in England right now, we've got this phenomenon where our woodlands get covered in flowers. And I'm just up the hill from my house. There's one of the most beautiful woods that's just carpeted in bluebells.
Oh
that is
my God. Okay.
amazing. And you get
Nice.
hit with the smell and the color. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. If somebody had to describe 3 most beautiful attributes about you personally and professionally
Gosh.
as a leader, what are they? Very disciplined, very target oriented. What are the 3 things?
The 3 things, I think passionate,
Awesome.
supportive,
Sure.
and probably quite challenging at times,
Very nice. Yeah.
Only because, I think when passion goes 2 ways, right? I'm very
Sure.
enthusiastic. I like to lead from the front, and
Sure.
sometimes people get a little uncomfortable about that, right?
Wow. Okay. The last one, which is your most favorite weekend activity? Do you binge on Netflix? Do you go for hiking? What is your most favorite thing that you would love to do?
What's the most favorite thing that I love to do?
Yeah.
Ooh,
In your free time?
It's reading. Honestly, I'm in a book all the time.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Amazing. So, before we get to the end of the our podcast, what is that our guests should expect in the coming years from ITW? I mean, I know
Right.
not just ITW, right? You run a very successful media arm, you know, the magazine, you do a massive outreach on the online, the newsletters, everything. So what are the transformational things that they should
Yeah.
expect in the years to come?
So it's really exciting. And actually, last week we launched Decorico, which is our first time we've actually put a parent around all the different digital infra communities that we own and operate. So ITW, Capacity, Tower Exchange,
Wow.
Data Cloud, and the GLF.
Wow.
And what's that enabling us to do is actually look and see where those communities come together and where they don't. So
Sure.
for example, right now we're doing a huge amount of work looking forward to ITW Africa, which is in
Sure.
Nairobi in September, and then again to ITW Asia in December.
Yeah.
There's a lot of focus on power, right?
Wow, yeah.
So we're doing a huge amount of work right now, kind of understanding what the grid makeup is across Africa,
Beautiful.
because at ITW Africa this year, for the first time, we've got Tower Exchange Meetup Africa, Data Cloud Africa,
Wow.
ITW Africa, and the Digital Infra Power Summit all happening at the same time in the same city.
Awesome.
And that is just going to open up such a world of possibilities, because we found, and one thing I love about our industry is that
Sure.
on the, I suppose, on the wholesale side, that we're a community, that
Sure.
we're a close community.
Sure.
And sometimes you kind of need to just like lift your head up sometimes and
Yeah.
go, oh, that's interesting. What are the hyperscale doing? What are, what are the data centers doing? How is
Sure.
Equinix's strategy going to impact me in Nairobi,
Beautiful.
And that's kind of what we try to deliver and,
Wow.
and think through all of those types of things. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So we get to the last question in the segment. This I typically ask leaders like you because you have built successful businesses. You have helped large organizations. Zeebu, as an organization, we run something called Zeebu Labs, where we give away grants, we help with funding, we connect ecosystem, we bring customers for all the young entrepreneurs and startups.
Amazing.
So for all the aspiring entrepreneurs, what would your message be? How do they become successful? What is your secret mantra?
Do you know what? I think it's treat people with respect, actually.
Beautiful.
Because you never your customer today might be your employer tomorrow, or vice versa.
Beautiful.
You always think that the industry is bigger than it is,
Right.
and
right.
it's not, right? So
Right.
forge those relationships,
Amazing.
and be respectful in all of your dealings.
Amazing, amazing. Annabel, thank you so much. I know this has been an impromptu chat for you. I didn't prep you. I didn't tell you that we are going to do this, but I know you are extremely busy in the hectic schedule, and I'm so grateful that you took time. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us.
I've had a great time. Thank you
you.
for having me.
Thank you so much.